Yet another class. Today, of course, we'll be talking about Power Virtual Agents, which is yet another part of the Power Platform suite. Okay, so I'll just go right into it. My name is PC Daiwo, and I'll be taking classes on Power Virtual Agents. So basically, we're going to have 2 classes. This week we'll just do a run through, introduction, what Power Virtual Agents is, and next week we'll do a live demo where we get to create a Power Virtual Agent bot, a very simple one. Then from there those are basically the 2 things we would have to do. So of course, Power Virtual Agents is part of Power Platform. Power Platform, as I'm sure we already know, is a low-code platform that spans through Azure, Office 365, Dynamics. So we have a couple of components in the Power Platform. We have Power BI, which is basically for visualization. We have Power Apps, which we use to develop both Canvas app and model-driven app. I'm sure the differences between these two has been discussed in previous classes. We also have Power Pages, we have Power Automate, where we have cloud flows, we have business process flows, we have desktop flows, which is Power Automate desktop. Then we have Power Virtual Agents, which is what we'll be talking about today. So we have 2 major objectives for this class, or for the Power Virtual Agents class series. So the first one would be to describe the capabilities of Power Virtual Agents and the business value which it provides. Then also would examine the process. So would basically take a look at how we can build a simple chatbot using Power Virtual Agents. So now, what are Power Virtual Agents bots? So I'll just try to give a short description of what Power Virtual Agents are, or Power Virtual Agent bots are. So Power Virtual Agents basically is a tool that is used to create chatbots, basically. So Power Virtual Agent bots basically help us to create powerful chatbots, which uses a no-code graphical interface, which means we don't need like core development skills in order to build Power Virtual Agent bots. So basically, it helps us to build, like, we use Power Virtual Agents to build agents chatbots. Sorry, someone saying something, or okay. Please, can you still see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, thank you very much. So basically, for Power Virtual Agents, we don't require coding, and then we get to build conversational bots. So think about, I should think the biggest implementation of Power Virtual Agent bots is to think about the idea of customer service. So you have an organization, or you have a product, and then you need to support your users, or the users which are using that product. And then they have, instead of employing, for instance, 5 customer service agents, which are going to answer basic questions like how much does this product cost? How can I get this? Basically, very out of the box, easy questions to answer. You can cut it down to like maybe 2 customer service agents, and then deploy chatbots which are able to service customers. And then when it now comes to escalation, then it can now move to the stage where the actual humans, customer service agents, now get to interface with the customer. So that's just like one application. So of course, customers are always looking for faster and more precise way of self-service support options. So this is one way where you can actually fulfill that. It's one of the major utilization of Power Virtual Agent chatbots are to satisfy customers' need for self-service options. So there are a couple of things that using Power Virtual Agents will help you to. It helps you to better empower your team. So you can have a team of people which are able to build intelligent chatbots without actually having coding experience or being an AI expert. I'll just run through this a bit quickly. So it helps you to reduce cost. Of course, you know that if you are building like a solution using the out-of-box coding techniques to create a chatbot, it will definitely take a whole lot more. So it's going to be more expensive. But these are things that you can actually easily implement using chatbots, considering that you don't have to write codes. An average non-coder is able to actually create a chatbot to help resolve issues. So it obviously helps you to reduce cost. Then it also helps to improve customer satisfaction. So imagine a standard organization having like 3 customer service representatives that are available to attend to all customer complaints. Then you are able to deploy a chatbot that will take off like 50% of the burden, whereby it's only in cases of escalation that they actually involve the human customer service agent. But then again, you have a bot which you have an interface where a customer can easily just go type type in what they want, be it questions. So there are a lot of different chat options nowadays, and Power Virtual Agent is one of them, which you can use to create some of these chatbots. So I'm sure you visited a couple of websites before now, where you just see this tiny icon maybe on the top or the bottom right of your screen that says chat with us, some sort of. So we can actually implement something like that using Power Virtual Agents as well. And of course, it's really, really easy to implement. You don't have to use code. So this could help. I was given an instance where a company has about 3 customer service agents. Oh, sorry, I've touched something. So the instance I was given, so imagine if you have a bot that is able to do about 50% of what the people were doing. Of course, they are able to sufficiently and satisfactorily attend to more customers than they used to before. So these are a couple of things that Power Virtual Agents would help you to do. Now we have Power Virtual Agents has a couple of components, but before we go into the components of Power Virtual Agents, I'll just take a look at a bit of some highlights, some things that you could do, or some qualities of Power Virtual Agents, so to speak. So of course, Power Virtual Agents is a software as a service kind of offering. So it helps you can easily sign up. You can create your chatbot and then you can embed it whether into your website, you could embed it into Teams in just a few clicks. So it makes it really easy. So Power Virtual Agent is not like you have to come and install one server before you can make use of Power Virtual Agents. Literally, all you need to do is just sign up on the web, and then you can start building chatbots. And after building these chatbots, you can as well also implement. You can actually integrate them with your websites or on Teams. There are actually other channels which you can integrate your chatbot into. We have a couple of channels. So that's one really good thing about Power Virtual Agent. Then using Power Virtual Agent also, you can easily create chatbots using code-free graphical interface. So it eliminates the need to actually be an AI expert or to have a team of developers before you can actually do this. So it makes it really easy for you. So now you can create chatbots that can actually chat with your users, but also there are chatbots that you out from with Power Virtual Agents. You can actually also connect. I'm sure you've actually had Power Automate class. So you can actually connect your chatbot to Power Automate. So for instance, the user is asking for specific information. Maybe you need to go into a DB to pull out some information. You can actually do that with your Power Virtual Agent. You can automate a flow who goes, picks the information and returns it to your chatbot. And it does this in seconds, and you provide the customer with the information they are looking for. So there are really a lot of functionalities and a lot of things you can actually achieve with Power Virtual Agents. So we'll proceed to the components of Power Virtual Agents. So we have topics, we have entities, we have actions, we have publishing. Publishing is not here on the slide, but we also have publishing. It's part of the components of Power Virtual Agent. So I'll just go through them one after the other. So basically, one big part of our Power Virtual Agent chatbots conversation in its natural language understanding. So basically, it's the ability for it to understand a user's intent. So, oh, sorry. I think I moved into entities. Okay, so I'll just go back. So let's start with topics. I'll just go in the order in which is arranged on the slide. So basically, our topic, a topic defines basically how a chatbot's conversation plays out. So now you can actually customize your topic, or you can use the topics. So there are some inbuilt topics, then you can also create your own topics. So usually when you start creating a Power Virtual Agent chatbot, which we'll do in next class, you can use the already existing topics, or you can create brand new topics by yourself that you want to address a specific issue. So topics now have what we call trigger phrases. So what are trigger phrases? Trigger phrases are, as it states, phrases basically that triggers a particular topic. So for instance, there's this out of the box topic in Power Virtual Agent that is called greetings. So for instance, to trigger the greetings topic in Power Virtual Agent, you just need to say something like maybe hello or hi. So all these hello, hi, those are trigger phrases. They are phrases with which you use to trigger a particular topic. So when dealing with topics, usually we have trigger phrases that will determine when the topic gets triggered. So now what happens is, so for another example is, you just need to, so just the same way you would go to, just the same way any chatbot works, that you would go to a website, you see a chatbot, most likely the first thing you are going to say to the chatbot is maybe hello before you go ahead to ask your question. But even if you go ahead to ask your question, of course, you're still going to get a response. So basically that phrase that the user is likely to first type in, you have to like have a couple of phrases, similar phrases, maybe worded in different ways, so that it's able to capture what the user wants in order to trigger the particular topic. So beyond the greetings topic that I stated earlier, we could have maybe a topic for maybe store hours, assuming you're running an online store, and maybe you have a topic that is supposed to address the question of when does your store open, when do you close. So you probably would want to have a topic like that. So basically, that's what topics are. So topics also have conversation nodes, which is what you use to define how a chatbot should respond. I would also demonstrate this in next class. So, okay, now we've talked about trigger phrases. Trigger phrases being the phrases that are going to trigger a particular topic. So when the topic is triggered, what next? So you are going to determine, okay, when a user asks, when does your store open? Most times, what the answer you're supposed to give is a particular time. Then the user can go ahead to ask a follow-up question. So usually, these nodes are like different actions that should take place based on the bot's interaction with the customer. So for instance, you can ask, it could even get to a node where it asks the customer that, oh, would you like to visit our store? Would you like directions? Then the customer, you can probably bring out two options, yes or no. If you would like directions, then maybe you now bring up another part where it gives the customer the address to your store. So basically, its nodes are like different steps of interaction with the customer based on customer feedback from the customer or what the customer enters into the chatbot. So I'll just quickly move on to entities. So entities they're basically information units that represent a certain type of data. So it could be name. Name could be an entity. City could be an entity. Location could be an entity. So really, we have a couple of different entities. And now we have a different part of we have different entities, and then a good part of natural language is understanding and identifying these entities in a user dialogue. So now the chatbot has the ability of understanding what a user is trying to say when a user says something. So for instance, a user can say something like, I tried to use my gift card, but it doesn't work. Then the chatbot, as I mentioned earlier, is able to, based on what the user said, route the user's conversation to like an appropriate answer. Even if, so for instance, I mentioned trigger phrases. Imagine you have like 3 different phrases. Maybe for instance, for the greeting phrase, maybe I have 5 trigger phrases, namely hi, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Maybe I have just these 5 trigger phrases, and then someone comes and says, hello, but. Of course, the user did not enter the exact trigger phrases that I had set in that topic, but the topic is still going to be able to pick it up as a greeting. So that's what I'm talking about when I make mention of natural language. So yes, so that's what I mean when I talk about natural language. So it's able to actually interpret the user's, whatever the user inputs, and then route the conversation to the proper part. So now we have actions. As I mentioned earlier, Power Virtual Agent has the capability of calling Power Automate flows. So Power Automate flow, of course, can help you automate a lot of activities and then call back-end systems, perform operations, and bring back results into the Power Virtual Agent if need be. Then also we have publishing. So now publishing is you can publish. The essence of publishing a bot is, without publishing a bot, then of course end users will not have access to the bot. So you can obviously publish your bot to different channels, which includes your website. You can publish it to Teams. You can publish it even to Facebook. You can publish it to mobile apps, messaging platforms, really a couple of different channels. So each time you update your bot, you will definitely need to republish your Power Virtual Agent bot again so that the users can be able to use the most recent feature you've added to your bot, or so that the most recent changes can reflect on the user's end as well. So why Power Virtual Agent bots? So why Power Virtual Agents? Why do I want to create a chatbot using Power Virtual Agents? So we have four various factors, which I'll just quickly run through. We have usability, of course, we have productivity, we have extensibility, and we have scalability. So we'll just go through this very quickly. So for usability, really, it's really easy to use Power Virtual Agent to create a chatbot, considering that you don't need to write codes, considering that it has amazing natural language capabilities, and you can also even reuse the existing content. So of course, when you have topics in your chatbot, you can use the same, for instance, the greeting topic, you can use the same greeting topic in multiple different chatbots. You can deploy it to multiple channels. As I mentioned earlier, you can publish your chatbot to Teams, you can publish it to your website, you can even publish it to Facebook. So that's a really, really good reason to choose Power Virtual Agents. So another is productivity. So self-learning, it's really easy to improve the performance. It helps you, so chatbots in Teams, it helps you implement the functionality of having a chatbot in Teams. So extensibility, so we can make use of pre-built connectors using Power Automate. You can connect to other connectors in Power Automate, perform different actions. You can also hand off to Dynamics 365. That's when you're handing off to like a live agent. So you can actually implement a feature where you create a chatbot that can interact with the customer. Then at some point, the customer can choose the option of wanting to speak with a live agent. Perhaps because of the nature of conversation the customer would like to have with a person, or the kind of support customer needs. So when they want to switch to a live agent, you can hand off to Dynamics 365. You can implement this using this feature of handing off to Dynamics 365. So scalability. So of course, the software as a service offering makes it really scalable. You can it can also support quite complex scenarios. So I believe we would need to stop here for today, but by next week I would take us through the Power Virtual Agent interface, so that way we're able to see. So today was just like an overview of everything, of what Power Virtual Agent is, how to, and some of the features of Power Virtual Agent. So next class, which is next week, I would actually do like a live demo where we'll go to the Power Virtual Agent site. We'll start in from the sign-in, and I'll be able to show all of the things that I've mentioned in today's class next week. Please, does anyone have any question? Okay. Please, does anyone have a question?
Hello, Peace.
Yes.
Okay, if
Yes,
it's
I'm
okay,
listening.
if you could just show us a kind of a preview, kind of, before we start anything next week, just a preview of what PVA looks like.
Okay, sure.
Thank you.
All right, just give me a moment. I'd have to share my screen again, but before I do that, let me just sign in, or at least get to the sign-in page. Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay, please, can you see my screen? Okay, please, can you see my screen now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so I'll just go ahead to sign in. Okay, it's loading. So it's still loading. I'll just wait a while. Okay, that's fine. Okay, got it. Okay, so I think this page is still loading. Okay, it's fine now. So I think it's loaded. So this is what the home page of Power Virtual Agent looks like. This is what it looks like. So of course, you can create it in various environments. So you can, once you click on this environment on the top right, it allows you to select the environment in which you'd like to create your Power Virtual Agent. Then, yeah, so on this right, you'd see settings, Power Virtual Agent, general settings, but of course, I'll just close that up. So this is my home page. It even has a couple of how-to videos. It has documentation. So basically, this is just learning resources for Power Virtual Agent. Then chatbots. It loads a list of chatbots if I have any. So of course, these are two chatbots that I have here currently. Then if I wanted to create a new chatbot, I can either click on new chatbot here, or I can click on create on the left-hand side. I'll just hold off on creating a new chatbot in next class. But what I'll do is I'll click on one of the existing chatbots just to show what it looks like. So basically, you know, I mentioned topics and publish. So this is still loading. So basically, I'll just click on topics. It should load topics right here. Exactly. So these are a couple of topics that we have. So you can see here, it says trigger phrases. So I'll click on, so it shows that I have 10 trigger phrases here. So I'm just going to select this topic because I want to show us the trigger phrases and the topic itself. So it's quite slow. Okay. So our topic is quite large. So I'll just do this. I'll just zoom in so that, yes, we're able to see. So these are trigger phrases. All these items here are trigger phrases. And of course, you can add more trigger phrases if you'd like to. So basically, these are the things that if I type here, is going to trigger this topic. Usually, I always like to turn on this toggle, which says track between topics, such that also you can redirect one topic to another. You can put a condition here that says go to another topic and direct it to a specific topic where it should go to. But I want to hold off on showing us that till next class. I just want you to see how it looks like, what the interface looks like. So basically, this is the interface for when you are developing a chatbot. Of course, your interface, when you want to interact with the chatbot, you use this chat interface here. So for instance, if I were to say order, oh, sorry, I'm not typing. Order online. This topic would get triggered. Of course, you can see it's triggered a response, which is a message that says, I'm happy to help you place your order, which is what we have here. And then it comes to another node. So these are the nodes that I spoke about. This is a node. This is another. It goes to the next node, which asks me a question. To what state would you be shipping? And then now it's up to me to enter the name of a state. So now it uses, so you can see it's identifying, this is where entities come into place. So entity information, so it's talking about a state. So this state is a state entity. So this state here is an entity. And then it's going to save the response in a particular variable, which is what is defined right here. So for instance, I say Lagos. It's going to tell you, sorry, I didn't understand, because the options that we have here, we have California, we have Washington, we have, and then we have another category that says all other conditions. So if it doesn't meet any of these previous conditions, it will definitely come to this node. Or if it doesn't understand, it would ask again, to what state would you be shipping? So basically, this is like an overview of what it looks like. So these are the entities. We have a lot of various entities that are here. And of course, they are pre-built. You can add yours if you need to. And then this is also the publish pane, where you can publish to various channels. So I think we'll stop here for today. Next class would pick up from where we stopped today. Please, if you have any question, I would